everybody, welcome back to the Winner's Circle. I'm Derrick.
And I'm Cody.
And we are here with another episode of Big Brother Beyond the House. This is our second one.
Yep.
And the first one, if you guys haven't seen it yet, we did it with Kyland's friends. We had John and Tara on. They were great. Thank you again for coming on and talking with us. This week, we're going to be talking to a friend of Xavier's. And it's really interesting because we were talking a little bit before this, and 2 weeks now back to back where we've had people who weren't really familiar with Big Brother beforehand. So it's interesting to hear their perspectives on things because we're used to this world that we call the BB fam, but them coming into it cold turkey, it's got to be an experience. So without further ado, let's introduce Xavier's friend, Mike. Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you know Xavier, all that good stuff.
Me and Xavier met in a basketball tournament. He was a incoming freshman and I was a junior, senior. And, afterwards, I was like, hey, you want to come hang out at the lake and chill for a bit? And he's like, yeah, sure. And we've been best friends ever since. So been over a decade since that happened. And he's like a brother to me. And it's been kind of fun to watch him on TV. And there's some downside to it, but overall, it's been a pretty fun experience.
Yeah, we get that. Now, when you said junior and he was a freshman, are you talking about high school?
College. Yeah,
okay.
He was going to be going to Spring Arbor to play basketball, and I was down at Holy Cross College at Notre Dame, and it was just a summer tournament with a bunch of Kalamazoo guys, and kind of random, and he's a pretty fun dude to hang out with. So
pretty good ball player too. I was looking at it, doing my little research. I know it looks like he had an injury or something for a while there when he was out of commission for a little bit. He was doing some dunking, but he played D1, right?
No, he played at Spring Arbor. It's Division II NAIA.
Division II.
And then he went to law school at Marquette. And played intramurals and that stuff there. That's actually usually more fun than playing college basketball, to be honest.
A little less stressful.
True story. So over 12 years you've known him. And so walk us through it, right? You guys have been friends for over a decade, like you said. How does he broach the conversation with you? How does he come to you and say, hey, my man, I'm going on this show called Big Brother, and I need you to run my Instagram for me. How did that conversation go?
Yeah. He told me about the process and how that went for him. It sounds like quite the process to get to the point where you're actually on the show. And there's a lot of, I don't know if this is going to happen. It might happen. It was, and he's like, can you run my Instagram account? It was, yeah, I'll do it for you. And it's been a little more than I was expecting, but it's all good.
So that's a good point. And I think it's fun to hear this side of it because you seem like you're just kind of like chilling, you're rolling with it. Obviously, like you've been an athlete, so you kind of grow up with a little bit tougher skin. But, that's a little knot on the back to all of us athletes out there. But what has it been like with your boy in the house, seeing what social media is like? I don't know if you're big on social media before, and I was not. And so what has it been like just being, seeing your best friend on this show that you didn't really know much about and seeing how it's a huge show with a huge following? And so what has that been like for you on the outside?
Yeah, there's always someone mad about something. It didn't really matter what he did. Every week there was somebody mad about something, and I'm trying to kill with kindness a little bit and still try and defend him a little bit. But at this point, I think I might just give up and
here's
just trying to delete the negativity and keep it positive. So
give you a little Big Brother insight. You just block the negative and you emphasize the positive.
Right.
And so the negatives can no longer break that wall down. They're going to celebrate it. It's this weird thing how they like celebrate when they're like blocked. It's like bizarre. I guess this is the day we live in. But I feel like that's definitely the biggest shock that nobody knows on the outside. You're like, oh, yeah, it's cool, man. I'll take care of your social media. And then you're sitting there, you're like, what is this black hole?
We talked about it a little bit. Yeah, we talked a little bit going into it, and we were like, is this something you want to do? Because we know there's a dark side to fame and to being on TV, and things can get taken out of context or twisted, and you just never know how you're going to be portrayed on a show. And it's like overall the positives outweigh the negatives, and we had that discussion a little bit going into it. So he's fully aware that that's going to be happening, and that's what we'll be coming back to. So.
Dude, he's a cool dude. He's a smooth operator. It's why he's so great at the game.
Yeah.
This isn't going to phase him. This is going to sound super braggadocious, but what you're going to find when you're doing really well in the game, people tend to root against you because it's boring almost. Oh, yeah. I went through the whole season without being nominated. Cody went through the whole season without being nominated on his All-Star season, and everyone's rooting for you to lose. It's just because they, I don't even know if it's a personal thing. It's just they just want the underdog, or they want to see a change up, and when it's kind of predictable, they root against you. It's just kind of the lay of the land. But if Xavier is anything like he is in the house, he's going to have no issue dealing with it, which is why I want to get into in the house. I'm a huge fan of Xavier. We've been called Xavier fanboys multiple times. The dude is just so cool under pressure. I mean, that trait of just never getting flustered. I mean, he does by himself sometimes, but I mean, he's never had a blow up. He's always the voice of reason. Tell us about Xavier outside the house. Is that just him? Mm-hmm. Is it like, are you watching it and going, this is status quo, or is he in Big Brother game mode right now where he's just raising it to another level?
Yeah, outside of the house, he's a little more easygoing, I think.
Really?
We have a lot of fun. We're always laughing and joking around and goofing around, and we used to bartend weddings and stuff. We got a bunch of videos goofing around behind the bar and stuff. So, if anything, he's a little less laid back and goofy because he's focused on what he needs to do next in the house, and he's a little more lawyer mode at this point, strategizing and analyzing everybody and figuring out what he needs to do.
I love that.
Little something in common with you, Cody, with the weddings.
Yeah, right. And I also was bartending too. I knew that there was something about this guy. This is why I pegged him from the beginning. I was like, this guy's winning the whole game, and I really hope he does. I hope I'm not jinxing him.
He is a bartender. That was a true story.
No way. I was like, no way.
I'm not gonna lie. He hasn't done it for a couple years, but we were bartenders, so there is some truth to that. He didn't tell a lie per se. But yeah, it's been a couple of years since he's done it. That's why he doesn't know when he drinks.
Right. And honestly, when I was bartending, if you came to me about anything other than just the alcohol and the chaser that goes with it, I was like, go slide down the bar. Slide down the bar.
Yeah. First time I worked one, someone asked for a gin and tonic, and I turned to my boss. I was like, "What's a gin and tonic?" She was like, "It's gin and tonic. That's all it is." It's like,
yeah, dude. I did the same thing on my season where I
got better, but yeah.
Listen, you know what? The fact that he picked something that he did before is good because that's what I did. It's a good thing to have some background in it. I will say it hasn't really panned out for him because if you're going to go in there and say you're a bartender, you better know some drinks. So maybe Xavier didn't think that one out completely, but hindsight's 20/20. Talk to me about, you've been watching every week, I'm sure, right? You haven't missed an episode. Are you a feed guy? Are you watching the feeds?
Try and catch the feeds when I can. I work from home, so I try and get them when I can. But our internet service has not been great, so ours cut out a lot. But we try and catch it, my wife and I, and watch him when we can and see what he's up to.
So you've been watching all season. What does Mike think of Xavier's game so far up to this point?
I think he played it right. I think early on you don't want to win a lot of HOH and veto and mark yourself as a big target. So I think throwing a lot of those set him up nicely to kind of keep the eyes off of him. And then the social game's been pretty on point, keeping the big alliance together to get it down to that final 6. And then I think Tiff might have slipped up a little bit winning that HOH to keep Claire, and that kind of gave him some ammo to have her be the first one of the 6 out. So I think overall he's played it pretty well. I think aligning with Kai is a good strategy at this point, and it can turn in a hurry. So you never know if he wins the HOH and then Kai wins the next one. He could come after him. You don't know what's going to happen. But I think for now he's played it as well as he could have.
Yeah, I love this week after the Tiffany HOH played out and the Hannah played out. We were talking about it on the winner's circle. We were like, dude, it's not looking good for our boy. Like, it looks like he's going to start to get targeted. And he saw like a sliver of them exposing themselves and literally dove all over that and pushed it to Kai, because I got to be honest, in my opinion, I thought Kai might have went after him, and he literally flipped that, which is just, it shows he's just in game mode 24/7, man. He's locked in.
Yeah, you can see it right now. I mean, like I said, usually he's a lot more goofy and goofing off and stuff, but I think he really wants to win it. You got student loan debt when you're a lawyer, so he's trying to get that paid off. But I think he's played it right so far, and Kai seems pretty serious about going final two with him, and I think those two are the ones that can kind of win out on the HOH and vetoes and watch out for each other. I think where it gets tricky is that final four, final three section. Do you take the shot at each other or do you ride it out? So we'll see. I think Tiffany's played as well as she could have, and she's made great points to everybody. She almost got a couple people to flip, it looked like, and he's kind of downplayed that and turned it, and I think he's been able to take that target off his back. But she's making all the right points, but he's been able to persuade people not to buy it somehow. So
what do you think about that so far? Because that is something I'm a little concerned of. So we've said right along, Tiffany's a great player, arguably the best strategist in there, even better than maybe Xavier. Honestly, Xavier has a lot of traits socially that he's number one in. He just never loses his cool, smart dude, all that good stuff. But when it comes to planning ahead, I think Tiffany's the best in there. However, when it comes to the actual competitions, yes, Tiffany has a couple HOHs under her belt. Hannah doesn't. Are you at all concerned that going forward, and I know you're not a huge Big Brother fan, but these competitions coming up are going to be mental? And I am a little concerned. I don't know for sure because everything's, hindsight's always 20/20, but I definitely think these competitions coming up, Hannah is brilliant. She's extremely intelligent. And I'm hoping that Xavier, because I know Xavier's kind of controlling the cards this week, do you think he's making the right decision going for Tiffany over Hannah first? Because he's kind of got the pick. He can go either way right now, and I think whatever he wants is going to happen. Based on what you've seen, do you think he's making the right move?
I think those are his two biggest threats.
For sure.
I think Tiffany's been more persuasive as far as getting some of the other people to really think about going after X.
It's true.
I know she's gotten kind of in Oz's head a little bit, almost had Big D in his head a little bit, and then they had that conversation about, well, let's go over the jury, and he made it seem like this is a toss-up, and kind of pumped up Big D a little bit to kind of get him off that scent. And then, I think Hannah's the next biggest threat, so I think that's who they're going to target next week. She's probably I think they're both smart, so I think either one of them are capable of winning HOH. So those are the two that I would be worried about. So.
You're right, and they both, and to Xavier's point, because some people are like, oh, he's going after, people forget really quickly that just last week, I believe it was, Tiffany was in the DR and she said, I don't want Xavier to go after me. I want to make a deal, but if I win next week, I'm going after him. So Xavier doesn't know that, but he's definitely making a good decision. I mean, either one, like you said, they're both going after him. They made a pact. They want to get into the final two together. The only way to ensure they don't is by going after them together. So they're definitely making the right move. What do you think going forward with this? Because, okay, let's play it out. Tiffany goes home. Xavier wins the next HOH, because really, he really has to. Let's be honest. He really does have to. If you want to make sure he's in that final four, well, actually after tonight, because it's going to be the double eviction. After that episode, it'll come up. Does knowing Xavier probably as well as anybody, Kyland really showed some loyalty this week. Do you think Xavier would return the favor?
Yeah, I think so. I think he would. And I think he's pretty confident in that pact that they made for final two. And he's not a fool. He knows that Hannah and Tiffany are big competitors and big threats. And, that's some of the Tiff fans were a little mad at him this week.
But,
that's
how it goes. The fans are the people that are getting sent home.
He sees her as a big threat. Like, him going after her is out of respect. It's not a hate thing. Like, she's his biggest threat, and he knows it, and he knows that she's going to be gunning for him. And Claire's speech. I'm sure he knows she had her hands on that a little bit. And so kind of tipped her cards a little bit that she was coming after him. So I don't think he really had a choice at that point.
I agree with you 100%. And so just to confirm, you're saying Kai took care of him. Xavier wins the double evict. He views Kyland as maybe the biggest threat. You don't think you're saying because of this pact they made, no way he'll even go after him, even if he sees a good opportunity to take the shot?
I don't know about no way. He does have a little bit of a savage side. So
I think he does, bro.
I think he'd probably go for Hannah first, but once it gets past Hannah, I don't know. Either one of them, I think, could take that shot. So
I agree. I think those two are gonna. I'm telling you right now, we haven't talked about it on the winner's circle. This is gonna actually probably air. I don't know if it's gonna be tomorrow before the double. We'll see how quick we can get it out. But if they both survive tomorrow night, because there is a double, I don't know if those two take each other to the final two. I don't see it happen. And I think that if Azza or Derrick F are sitting next to Kyland, or Xavier sitting next to Derrick F or as Azza, and Kyland has the control, $750,000. Do you want to go against Derrick F or do you want to go against Kyland? Nothing against Derrick F, but I don't know. Yeah. I mean, you know him better than me, but
I think he's pretty confident with whoever's sitting next to him at this point. I think he's kind of aware that Kyland has probably made more people mad than he has. So I don't think he's too worried about who's sitting next to him. So I think it's all going to depend on gauging Kyland's loyalty to that final two. If he feels like Kyland's going to turn on him, he might make the first move and do it. But I have talked a little bit to the other social media managers, and we're becoming friends going through it together. But it's been fun, and they all seem to like and respect each other, and I think they have a pretty good understanding that it's a game, and there's going to be some betrayal and deception and backstabbing that happens at this point. Once you get down to the six, the agreement was to get the six there, and then whatever happens. But I think he'll take that final two, because once Hannah's out, I think those two are capable of running the table on the competitions and getting each other there, and then just letting the chips fall where they may. And I think he's pretty confident in that jury vote. But if he feels like Kyland's going to switch up, he might take the first shot.
If he has any doubt where he's like, I don't know, something's not feeling right. And now it's Xavier. Obviously, he's a lawyer, but does he pick up on stuff like that? Will he is that kind of what he's thinking? Like Derrick was a guy that could just feel that. Me, not so much. I needed a ton of information to kind of come to those.
Yeah, he's pretty aware. I mean, he was pretty aware of what's going on with Tiff and Hannah, and that's kind of why he went that direction. Those were the ones that were coming hard for him. I think he picks up on that stuff pretty quick, especially the way he's behaving in the house right now. When he gets the pacing. But he's pretty focused on what's going on around him at this point. You don't see a lot of the personality that he has outside of the house because it's not there right now. He's focused. So.
It's a business trip.
Game mode. Have you been in touch with Xavier's family at all?
A little bit. We had a mishap where somebody reported his page as impersonating him. So I wasn't able to get it verified. So I had to reach out to his dad and Papa P, as we call him.
Papa P. All right, shout out Papa P.
Kind of get some documentation and stuff. But we talked a little bit. It's mainly been me and my friend Garrett and my wife and our family have been watching together for the most part. But every now and then I talk to a few other people and they reach out and celebrate that he's there and they're excited about it. So
of course, as they should be. They should be very proud of him. And speaking of being proud, I'll just call it what it is. We got the three white guys here, so what can we really say, right? But talking to Xavier's family, have they given you an inclination of how proud they are of him going in there, going for $750,000, but putting this mission, and he was a big part of it. Him and Tiffany were big parts of it, putting the game aside for his personal game to accomplish a historical feat with the cookout. Have you gotten any feedback from the family of what it means to them and their family as far as what he represents now as far as Big Brother history and what the cookout has been able to accomplish?
Yeah, I think everybody's been very proud of them and what they've been able to do. I think all 6 of them should be proud of themselves and what they've been able to do, and being able to come together like that. And I think that's what it's about. Coming together with members of your community and people like you, and building each other up and doing something great. And I know that's something that's always been important to him. We talk about it all the time, and the things he's been able to do in real life, to be able to overcome what he's been able to overcome. And, it's not lost on him what they're doing, to be able to come up in the environment that he's been in and overcome obstacles and get to a profession that's not necessarily easy, for a Black man to get into. And kind of help break down those barriers with other Black men and women, to get into professions like that, and to show people that it is possible, and representation matters. And being best friends with him has taught me a lot about that. I think back when Black Panther came out, I didn't think much of it, right? And talking to him about it, you don't get many Black superheroes, and so that was a big thing.
Right.
And, kind of opened my eyes up to that. We take it for granted.
Right.
We have so many superheroes that look like us, and role models that look like us. And you don't think about people who don't have that. So,
right.
He's aware of that, and he tries to break down barriers and be a representative for younger men and women like him to go after goals like that, and to know that it's possible. And they did the same thing here, and I'm proud of him, and I know all his family is as well.
It's great.
Well said, brother. Couldn't say it better than that. Cody, do you have anything else you want to add?
No. After that, I think we should end it on that. That was I think that gave us a great insight into just who X is, kind of like where this game has come from, and it also is great to know this guy has a whole nother side of him that you're really not seeing. So if you want to see this other side of him when he gets out of the house, I don't know if he's on social media, the real social media, Mike is going to give it to you right now. None of the other imposters that were reporting it and trying to take it from them. Let them know where to find Xavier when he gets out of the house.
Xavier E. Prather. So Xavier.
You got to spell that for him, brother.
Yep, XaVieReprather. We're working on getting that verified, so I'm on my second attempt. We'll see how it is.
Big brother, let's get it done.
Kyland's social media is helping me, so if I can't get it this time, she's gonna help me out.
Shout out Tara, she's not playing around.
No, she's not. She's not
playing around. Well, listen,
I got some backup. I'm not like that.
No, you got to be in it, and she's definitely in it. Listen, you had mentioned a couple times about some of the ups and downs of social media. I promise you, Xavier's going to be extremely appreciative that you took care of it like my best friend did when I was in the house. And, it's going to be plenty of time for Xavier to come out and address anything he wants to address. He doesn't seem like someone who runs from certain things, as you just laid out eloquently, way better than me. He will address everything head on, whether it's true or false. I think he's a guy who likes a conversation. He's a lawyer. Mm-hmm. That's what he does. Mm-hmm. So I'll be interested to speak to him, and obviously let him know if he wants to speak with us, reach out to us personally. He doesn't have to be on a podcast. We'll gladly talk to him, because once you go in that house, regardless of how you finish, you are part of a fraternity or a sorority, however you want to put it, where there's a small group of people who have had the opportunity to walk through those doors and play that game. And I promise you, you don't really know what it's like until you go in there. Mm-hmm. So we know where he's coming from. We're extremely empathetic to everything he's going through in there and things he will go through on the outside, both positive and negative. So we're looking forward to talking to him, and we appreciate you joining us here on the Winner's Circle. We know it's a tough ride for you guys as well. It's got its up and downs, but It's always nice to talk to people who know these people genuinely and not just from a show. So we do appreciate it. And hopefully we talk to you guys again soon.